What if a home could feel like a memory and a dream? Not just a structure, not just walls and windows, but something that lingers the way a familiar scent does, a soft echo of a life you've always wanted to live. A place where every breath feels lighter, every glance feels warmer. What if the light itself seemed to pause when it touched the walls, as if the sun didn't want to leave, as if the day itself was holding on? Every window perfectly placed, catching the morning's first gold as if it were saving it for you. Every line, every curve, every sturdy beam standing quietly, whispering, not shouting, a promise. The kind of promise that doesn't need to be spoken aloud, the kind you feel deep down, the moment you step closer. Did you know that 70% of homeowners feel their space doesn't reflect their style? Don't be part of that statistic. Subscribe and start designing a home that truly feels yours. This isn't just a house, and it never wanted to be. It's a mid-century cottage, the kind that could have been plucked straight from the pages of a family album, where Sunday mornings smelled like coffee and cedar, where rain tapping on the roof felt like music. But it's not trapped in the past. It's been reborn, reshaped, reimagined. Not as a memory, but as something bolder. A barndominium, not rugged, not cold, but breathing. Open. A space that carries the warmth of a cottage while stretching toward the sky, toward light, toward a future that feels calm and uncluttered. You can almost hear it, can't you? The soft hum of a place alive with stillness. A home where nostalgia and newness don't just meet. They hold hands, blending into something rare. Something that doesn't ask to impress you with extravagance, but draws you in with comfort, with grace, with that feeling you can't quite explain but know when you feel it. And maybe that's why this place feels different. Because it's not just wood and glass and steel. It's a reminder that a home, the right home, can steal your breath not with its size, but with its soul. That it can feel like a dream you've had before, one you're only now remembering. This isn't just a house. It's a mid-century cottage, reborn as a barndominium, and it's about to steal your heart. It all begins with nostalgia. A beautiful home is not a dream, it's an art, and you're the artist. Subscribe and start creating spaces that speak to the soul. Not the kind you find in old photographs, faded and distant, but the kind that lives in textures, in shapes, in the quiet familiarity of design that feels human. Mid-century silhouettes, clean and confident, rising against the horizon. Pitched roof lines that seem to tilt toward the sky as though listening to the wind. Warm cedar siding, rich and natural, that doesn't shout for attention. It simply exists, whispering of a simpler time, of days when homes felt less like statements and more like sanctuaries. But here, that nostalgia doesn't stay still. It wraps itself in something bolder, something unexpected. This isn't just a cottage pretending to be modern, nor a barn dressed as a house. It's both, and neither. Vaulted barn beams stretch wide, their strength softened by the gentle glow of daylight. Panels of modern steel trace the edges, sleek yet unobtrusive, giving shape without taking away the warmth. And the walls? Walls that aren't walls at all, but expanses of glass, breathing the forest in, letting nature and home meet without a threshold. Everywhere you turn, there's a sense of duality. Rugged, yet refined. Familiar, yet new. You feel as though you've seen this before, maybe in a dream, maybe in another life, but never quite like this. It feels alive, not because it moves, but because everything around it does. The way the light drapes itself over the wood, how the shadows stretch and bend as the day turns, how every reflection in the glass feels like a painting that's never the same twice. And every line, every corner, every detail, tells a story, not a loud one, not a grand one, but a story that feels personal. A story of a time when homes were soulful, not showpieces, when every nail, every plank, every decision was made with care, not just to impress, but to endure. That soul lingers here. But now, it dances. It dances with openness, with space, with a lightness that only comes when past and present meet, when the comfort of the familiar steps effortlessly into the clarity of the modern. It's not just nostalgia. It's a new way to live it. Step inside, and the air changes. It's subtle at first. The shift in the way sound carries, the way light feels warmer, softer, as though the house itself is holding its breath. You're not in a cottage. You're not in a barn. You're somewhere in between, suspended in a space where mid-century simplicity brushes against modern rustic charm. It doesn't feel staged. It feels lived in, even before anyone has ever called it home. The floors beneath you hum with warmth, honey-toned oak that seems to gather every shard of sunlight and scatter it gently, like a secret only this house knows how to keep. Above, exposed beams stretch across the ceiling, old-world strength softened by time, cradling the vast space below without making it feel heavy. There's a sense of openness here, but not the kind that feels empty. This is openness that invites, that wraps itself around you instead of echoing back your footsteps. Transform your home. Transform your life. Subscribe now, and let's create spaces you'll love forever. The centerpiece of the room feels timeless, not trendy. A stone fireplace that anchors the space, grounding it with texture and permanence. It's the kind of place where you imagine the first logs catching fire on a crisp evening, the first shadows dancing against the walls, the first deep breath where everything outside, for a moment, disappears. Color weaves through the space in small, thoughtful gestures. A cushion here, a chair there, pops of teal and mustard, unmistakably mid-century, but softened by the cottage palette that surrounds them. Nothing feels forced, nothing feels loud. Instead, it feels like every detail was placed not to be seen first, but to be felt first. Here, time doesn't rush. It slows, just enough for you to notice the craftsmanship in a hand-finished cabinet to let your fingers trace the soft grain of wood polished smooth, to pause beneath a vintage light fixture whose glow feels closer to candlelight than electricity. You don't just pass through this space, you linger. Every corner, every texture, every carefully chosen line pulls you a little deeper into a world where the past and present don't compete. They converge, and the longer you stay, the harder it becomes to imagine walking away. But what truly defines this home isn't its walls or its windows or the way the beams stretch into the sky. It's how it feels. It's the way every space seems to know what you need before you even realize it. The way a quiet corner pulls you in, as if inviting you to sink into a chair with a book you've read a dozen times before, to let the hours blur together while the rain begins to tap, soft and steady, against the glass. For a moment, the world outside doesn't just fade, it stops. There's only this place, this stillness, and the warmth that wraps around you. Every room carries that same quiet hum. The kitchen, simple yet deliberate, feels like the center of the home, not because it's grand, but because it feels honest. Butcher block surfaces meet sleek stone in a balance of warmth and precision, every edge softened by the glow of pendant lighting. It's not a kitchen built to impress guests. It's a kitchen built to gather, to create, to linger over late-night conversations long after the plates have been cleared. Then there's the loft, perched above like a sanctuary all its own, a bedroom that feels tucked away in the clouds. The ceilings angle softly and the windows reach outward as if they, too, are searching for the horizon. It's a place made for quiet mornings, where waking up feels less like an alarm and more like a gentle rising with the day itself. What lingers, more than the details, is the rhythm of the home. It asks nothing of you except to breathe a little slower,